In today's lesson, we're going to look at section 9.6, applying the law of cosines. Learning target 9.6a is I can use the law of cosines to solve a triangle, and learning target 9.6b is I can find the area of a triangle using Heron's area formula. So the law of cosines is what we're going to look at first. And the law of cosines can be used for any triangle where you know two sides and the included angle, so side, angle, side, or you know all three sides, so side, side, side. So if you're given a triangle like the one I have drawn here, remember that angle A is always across from side A, angle B is always across from side B, and angle C is across from side C. Our law of cosines says that if I pick one of the sides to start with, in this case A, so A squared will equal B squared plus C squared minus 2 times B times C, so the two that you just squared and added together, times the cosine of the angle that was on the left side of the equation. I could also rewrite this using the other letters, so B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times the cosine of B. Or, if I'm looking for C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times the cosine of C. So there is our law of cosines. A couple things to keep in mind when you're using the law of cosines is the most important thing here, especially when you're working with the side, 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 is that you always find the largest angle, or the largest angle. So always find the largest angle first. If you don't, then it'll end up messing up and you won't get the right answer. So you always need to find the largest angle first. And it's always a good idea too, maybe just to go ahead and work from the largest to the smallest. So if you get in that routine, then you know that you've always got it. So find the largest angle, and keep in mind that the largest angle will always be across from the largest side. So if they give you all three sides, just look for the largest side, find that angle first. And then also with this, once you do the law of cosines, so you only need to use the law of cosines once. So use the law of cosines first, then use the law of sines to find the rest. Oops. Let's try that again. So then use the law of sines to find the rest of the missing items. Okay, so like I said, the biggest thing, the most important thing is that you should always find that largest angle first. So remember, working from the largest to the smallest, same goes with the sides. So the order of the sides is going to be the same as the order of the angles. And use your law of cosines first, so use it to find the first missing thing, and then use the law of sines to find the rest of them. So let's now try an example that uses the law of cosine. So this is an example of learning target 9.6a. And they want us to solve the triangle ABC with a equaling, or little a equaling 22, little b equaling 15, and capital C, or angle C, equaling 108 degrees. So now remember, when it says to solve a triangle, that means find anything that's missing. So since they give us three things, that means we need to find the three missing parts. So start this off, because they give me two angles and a side. First thing I'm going to do is just maybe draw myself a quick little sketch just to see what sides and angles I'm given. Little a is 22, so that's the side across from angle A. The side across from angle B is 15, and then angle C is 108. So since it is a side angle side problem, that tells me I use the law of cosine. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up. Since I know angle C and I know the two other sides, I'm going to find side C. So C squared is equal to the two other ones, so 22 squared plus 15 squared, minus 2 times the two sides that I know, so 2 times 22 times 15 times the cosine of the angle that I know, or the angle, since I'm looking for side C, I need the angle C. So in this case, it's 108. Now what I would do, since everything on the right side is all numbers, I would just go ahead and type that in the calculator, and I would get that C squared is equal to 912.95. Then go ahead and take the square root of both sides. So in this case, C would come out to be 30.22. And there is my first answer that I'm looking for. Now remember, I said once you find the first thing, then switch over and start using your law of sines. So now that I know that side C is 30.22, I also know that angle C is 108 degrees. I can use that as for my first initial law of sines. So the sine of 108 over the 30.22. And that's going to equal, and now I need to find one of the other two. Now keep in mind I said try to work from largest to smallest if possible, which means I want to look at angle A next. So I'm going to say the sine of A over 22. And now I'm going to cross multiply and divide, and I'm going to get that the sine of A is equal to 22 times the sine of 108 divided by 30.22. I'm going to go ahead and type that in the calculator, and I'm going to get the sine of A is equal to 0.6924. And then I'm going to do the inverse sine of that, and I get then that A is equal to 43.82 degrees. And now that I know two angles, since I know that it was given that angle C is 108 degrees, and now we just found that angle A is 43.82 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and use the fact that I know that a triangle is 180 degrees. So 180, and I'm going to subtract off the two angles that I know. So subtract off the 108 and subtract off the 43.82. When I do that, I get the amount that's remaining is a 28.18. That's my degrees, and that's for my angle B that I'm missing. So there are the three pieces that I'm missing because it was asked to solve the triangle, meaning I needed to find all three pieces that were missing. Let's now look at a second example of Learning Target 9.6a, where they want us to solve triangle ABC again, but this time we're given that side A is 19, side B is 26, and side C is 31. So we're given all three sides. So we got to keep in mind that when doing this, our first rule was always to do the largest angle first. So when looking at this, I know that my largest angle is going to be angle C because it's always going to be the angle that is across from the biggest side, and my biggest side is C with a length of 31. So I know I need to find that angle C first. So that means I'm going to start with angle C. So in this case, or side C, sorry, 31 squared will equal the other two squared, so 19 squared plus 26 squared minus 2 times those two sides. So 2 times 19 times 26 times the cosine of that angle that's on the left. So in this case, angle C. So now this is not quite as easy as the last problem just because I have more than just numbers on the right side of my equation. So I'm going to have to do it in pieces. So first off, I'm going to square the 31, which gives me 961. I am then going to square the first two pieces, the 19 squared and the 26 squared and add those two up. And in this case, it gives me 1,037. I am then going to go ahead and do the coefficient of the cosine. So 2 times 19 times 26. So I'm actually going to subtract the 9/88 that product comes to, and then I still have the cosine of angle C. And now I need to solve for that cosine. So to do that, I need to get rid of the 1,037. So I subtract that over, giving me a negative 76 equals a negative, don't lose that negative sign, negative 988 cosine of C. So I divide over my negative 988, and I get 0.0769 equals the cosine of C. And now do the inverse cosine of 0.0769, and I get that C is equal to 85.59 degrees. And there's my first angle. So now once I've used that law of cosines, I now need to switch over and start using the law of sines. So because I know angle C, I'm going to use that in my law of sines. So the sine of 85.59 over, that was angle C, so over side C of 31 equals, and now like I said, I want us to work the biggest angle to the smallest. So that means the next one I want to find is B. So the sine of B over 26. So now I cross multiply and divide. So the sine of B is equal to 26 times the sine of 85.59 divided by 31. And when I do that, I get that the sine of B is equal to 0.8362, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and do the inverse sine of that. And when I do that, I get that B, or angle B, is equal to 56.74 degrees. So I've now found two of my angles. I need to find that third angle. So the easiest way to do this is not to actually use any trig at all, but to use the fact that a triangle has 180 degrees. So I'm going to take 180 and I'm going to subtract off the two angles that I have. So 85.59 minus 56.74. And when I do that, I get 37.67, and that's my degrees, and that's for angle A. And now as I compare them, I see that C is the biggest angle, B would be the next, and A would be the smallest of the three angles, just like A was the smallest of the three sides.